In this training module, you're going to learn how the German AFB cruise control system works. Many German trains use this type of cruise control, and much of the fundamentals you learn here will apply to other trains that have some equivalent form of cruise control. It's important to note that there are fundamentally two types of cruise control. One is an active system like AFB, which will manage your speed positively using throttle and brake as needed. The other is a speed set system, which is useful for setting a maximum speed. Speed set could usually maintain your speed, but can't reduce it as easily as a system like AFB. For this exercise, you'll be doing 2 laps of the main loop here at the training center. The first time around, you'll be learning how to set up AFB and use it from standstill. The second time, you'll learn how to enable AFB while your train is already running. Set up the train, but don't start moving yet.
Störung, Störung.
Turn the AFB system on. You can now set the target cruise speed using the AFB lever. Set it to 40 km/h for now. Release the brakes and apply power.
Störung.
As the train accelerates, you can apply more power as needed. The train has reached its cruise target and has cut power. It will now manage the speed as needed automatically. You can leave the power handle with the power applied, and this grants the amount of power available for AFB to use. decrease the AFB lever to 80 kilometers per hour and watch the train accelerate to the new target. Decrease the AFB lever back to 40 kilometers per hour and see the train will manage itself back to 40 kilometers per hour. You're coming back to the platform, so set the throttle to off and get on the brakes as needed to come to a stop somewhere in the station.
Störung. Störung.
Getting AFB running while stationary is quite straightforward, but sometimes you may want to activate it while you're on the move without having to stop. Set the AFB lever to off and turn the AFB switch to off so that we can try that exercise next. Now you're doing about 40 kilometers per hour, it's time to get the AFB system enabled. First, completely cut the power handle to off. Next, set the AFB to the maximum position. Don't worry, it can't do anything because the power handle is set to off. Now activate the AFB switch to turn AFB on.
AFB, AFB, AFB.
Move the AFB lever to 80 kilometers per hour so it can speed up. Finally, apply some power. Notice that we're now accelerating, and if all has gone well, you'll see the power cut out around the 80 kilometers per hour mark as AFB is managing your speed. Pretend there's a signal restriction coming up ahead and you need to apply the brakes. Use the brake lever to bring the train down to around 40 kilometers per hour and then release the brakes. Notice how even though the cruise control is set to 80 kilometers per hour still and power is applied, it's still not accelerating. This is because the brake application caused a throttle lockout. To reset it, you need to put the power back to off and then reapply it. Perfect. You're accelerating back up to 80 kilometers per hour. headed back to the station again, so bring the throttle to off and use your brakes to bring the train to a stop in the platform.
Störung.
It is important to remember that a cruise control system like this is no substitute for the driver paying attention and remaining responsible for the train. Cruise control systems also cannot be relied upon to slow the train at an appropriate rate when approaching red signals or speed reductions, so you should be ready to use your brakes as needed. That concludes this module. If you wish to replay it, you can come back to it at any time via the training center. In this training module, you'll be learning the basics of operating a steam locomotive. You'll be driving this Stania Class 8F steam locomotive. When you're ready, climb onto the footplate. Sit in the driver's position. Start by preparing the locomotive for departure. The reverser determines the direction of travel and how much steam is consumed as the locomotive moves. Set the reverser to full forward position. You will need all available power when setting off. This locomotive has a combination brake that controls both steam and vacuum brakes. Steam brakes will apply on just the locomotive, Vacuum brakes will apply to the rest of the train so long as it is equipped with vacuum brakes. The brakes are released when a vacuum is created. The driver can use the brake handle to destroy the vacuum, which will start to apply the brakes. To create a vacuum, you should use the ejectors. The small ejectors should be left open when the train is running. The large ejector can be used to more quickly increase the vacuum after coupling or heavy braking. When the locomotive has been left standing, you'll want to open the cylinder cocks or remove any water. Water in the cylinders can damage the locomotive as it doesn't compress. Move the combination brake to the release position and then use the large ejector as needed to get the brakes released. On an uphill start, you may want to apply a little power. The regulator acts like the throttle control for steam locomotives. It controls how much steam is delivered into the cylinders. Applying too much power too early can cause wheel slope, so increase it slowly. After a few wheel rotations, the cylinder should have been blown clear by the steam jetting out of them, so you can close the cylinder cocks to get full power in the cylinders and prevent further steam waste. Starting to pick up speed. Move the reverser towards forwards 25%. This reduces the amount of steam let into the cylinders and saves energy. To drive a steam locomotive, you'll mostly be managing the regulator and the reverser. The regulator puts steam into the cylinders. The reverser uses that steam to power the pistons and manage the power you get from the locomotive. As you accelerate, you'll want to gradually pull the reverser back towards the middle, usually no less than 15%, in order to make the most efficient use of steam and get the most out of the locomotive. Practice and experience will show you how much to adjust the various controls by. The way you manage the controls will vary depending on the type of steam locomotive and the weight of the train behind it, but the fundamental process of what each control does is the same. Use the combination. That concludes this module. If you wish to replay it, you can come back at any time via the training center.